Everybody present in the sanctuary today to join us for our in-person coffee hour immediately following services. During our service, there is a time for sharing joys and sorrows of your life with one another. Cards for sharing your joy and sorrow are on the table by the entrance to the sanctuary. We ask that you pick them up and fill them out prior to that section of our service. Our mission is to be a welcoming congregation for spiritual growth, moral reflection, social action, and religious education. We value acceptance, community, and stewardship. Our children and youth are extremely important to us, and we have an exuberance of life and learning that leads us to work together for our beloved community. We are so glad that you are with us today. We hope you find the service inspiring and meaningful. Thank you.
Marty, would you like to come up, Marty Miles, to help us light the chalice? Good morning. My name is Beth Henkel, and my pronouns are she, her. I am honored to serve today as a worship associate. A lit chalice is the symbol of our tradition, serving as a beacon of hope. As we light our chalice in the sanctuary, I invite those on Zoom to light a chalice or a candle and to type your location in the chat. Our chalice lighting and opening words today are by Andrew Kennedy. We come to love the church, the traditions, the history, and especially the people associated with it. And through these people, young and old, known and unknown, we reach out, both backward into history and forward into the future, to link together the generations in this imperfect but blessed community, a community of memory, hope, and action. Come, let us worship together.
Please rise in body or in spirit as we join together in singing hymn number 346, Come Sing a Song with Me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring the rose in the winter come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. I might know your mind, and I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love to the rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. I might know your mind, and I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love, a rose in the winter time.
Would you now please join me in saying our covenant, which is on the screen and also in your bulletin? Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. And now we're going to say our covenant in Spanish. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ley. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor, y ayudarnos unos a otros. Este es nuestro pacto. Please be seated. Our congregation is a lively community with many opportunities to participate. Here are a few of the announcements for today, but please check your order of service for more. Please mark your calendars for Saturday, September 21st from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the grounds cleanup party. Join us for lunch afterwards, and if you have any questions, you can see Pam Risley. Today and next Sunday will be your last chance to sign up for the Chalice Circle. Marty Miles will be out in the back in the sanctuary with the sign-up sheet, so it's either today or next Sunday. And also, next to her, we will have the multi-gen read sign-up. So if you're interested in that, please go into the, get your coffee and then go sign up for that as well.
Now let us enter into the time in the service where we share the joys and sorrows of our lives with one another so that they may be held in community. As the music plays, I invite people in the sanctuary to come up and drop a pebble into the bowl if something is in your heart today. Please use both sides of the table. If you have written your joy or sorrow on a card, please leave it in the basket at the table, and it will be read aloud if you want us to. It would help our caring team if you would include your name and contact info, if you would like someone from the team to contact you this week. Please note that the cards are by the entrance to the sanctuary for easy pickup when you come in, or you can get it now if you forgot. For those of you on Zoom, we invite you to use the chat feature. Please put in all caps either joy or sorrow, plus your name and pronouns at the beginning of what you are sharing, if you would like us to read it out loud in the sanctuary. You can also symbolically drop a stone into the bowl by typing drops stone or just DS into the chat. Welcome. we have a sorrow from Sharon Crust. My 93-year-old brother-in-law died last week. The joy was being with all my children, niece and nephews for the services. And Briargast as both a joy and a sorrow. Things have been really hard with deep traumas. I've been triggered, but I'm so thankful for great supportive mental health care. And Sarah Grain says her sister is visiting from Colorado, excuse me. And she and my mom joined us at church today. Wonderful. Welcome, welcome. And a joy from Sarah, Savvy, wonderful, sharer. I am making my costume for Halloween. Oh, wonderful. And it's very fun. And Anne Murphy shares the sorrow. My brother died suddenly. He is my last sibling. And finally, a joy from Carla Broggie, thank you. Happy, the weather is turning cooler and that autumn is coming. Thankful for the bounty the summer has brought us. And we have one more, a couple more from the chat.
Cole Powers, she, her, is new to us this morning, and she's on video, so we're very happy to have you, Cole. She said she just moved to Indy, so we're happy to have her. And then Sandra Harris said that her youngest son is with her until Monday, and they're having the best time. And let's see, there's a joy. Danica, she, her, happy to be here, just moved from New Mexico. Sorrow, my cousin, my best friend, has been diagnosed with terminal cancer. I'm also sad not to be in New Mexico with her. So we keep all of these joys and concerns in our hearts.
Moment. Though they may not be shared today, we know there are many more joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts and on our minds. Let us pause now before our meditation hymn for a spiritual practice that may deepen our peace and draw us together in community. So I invite you to just get comfortable. Maybe let your back straighten up as you breathe in and relax as you breathe out. A great way to become open and stay open is simply to be quiet and receptive to our being in community. You might want to place your hands in your lap, straighten your back up. Now let's take a few breaths together. Breathing in slowly and deeply, and letting the exhale be long as the inhale, or maybe a little longer. Be still. Just breathe and relax on the exhale. Just notice how this makes you feel. Breathe again and again. And pass, doing nothing. Slowly, the space within you becomes open and receptive. Slowly, you trust. You realize that you can trust the quiet. Nothing will scare or overwhelm you. Slowly, you begin to realize that this is a time of receiving, not just of emptying. Take it slow. Be still. Breathe and relax. Just notice how that makes you feel. Let a little time pass, doing nothing. Now just note how you feel at the end of this little practice. Give the feeling a name. Perhaps tranquility, or composure, or peace within. And when the time comes for us to sing together, bring tranquility and composure or that peaceful feeling with you. Name it to yourself from time to time during the day and revisit the feeling. Revisit the breath. You might want to do this a few times today. So now let's join in our meditation hymn, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Whose hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. At this time, anyone who wants to get a better view of the slides or of me or whatever is welcome to join me up front. Doesn't matter what age you are. Ha ha ha. I'm so glad to be here with you all today. Oh, I've got so many friends and relations up here today. I'm really stoked. This is amazing. Hi, guys. So I am excited about today's service because we're having some really special talks about environmental justice, and it made me think of a lot of things that elementary and middle schoolers and youth have said to me over the years. And a lot of those boil down to, hey, we know that there are individual things that we can do that are good for the earth, and we really care about those things. And also, there are some great big companies in the world making a lot of pollution and environmental problems. And unless we can get them to do something differently, we're still going to have problems. And in fact, I went to youth leadership school one year, and we were on a college campus in Iowa, and we got to speak to some international graduate students, and I really remember keenly, from other countries around the world. And I remember keenly one student from a place called Nepal talking to us, and she said, you know, we have really, really bad flooding, high water because of climate change in our country, and it's really dangerous. And she said, you know what, we're carbon neutral. We have done everything that we can do to help the earth, but we still have flooding. Because if all the other people around the world don't make these changes, just our changes are not enough. So I wanted to share a story with you guys today that was very popular when I was a kid, and I feel like some grown-ups are gonna recognize it. It's called Swimmy. Swimmy makes me really happy because Swimmy knows all about collective action. So here's how this story goes. A happy little school of fish lived in a corner of the sea somewhere. They were all red. Only one of them was as black as a mussel shell. He swam faster than his brothers and sisters. His name was Swimmy. One bad day, a tuna fish, swift, fierce, and very hungry, came darting through the waves. In one gulp, he swallowed all the little red fish. Only Swimmy escaped. He swam away in the deep, wet world. He was scared, lonely, and very sad. But the sea was full of wonderful creatures, and as he swam from marvel to marvel, Swimmy was happy again. He saw a Medusa made of rainbow jelly, a lobster who walked about like a water-moving machine. And some other things. There we go. He saw strange fish pulled by an invisible thread, a forest of seaweeds growing from sugar candy rocks, an eel whose tail was almost too far away to remember. If you're a little fish, that happens. You start at the beginning of the eel, and by the time you get to the end of the eel, you're like, wow. And sea anemones, who looked like pale pink palm trees swaying in the wind. Then, hidden in the dark shade of rocks and weeds, he saw a school of little fish just like his own. "Let's go and play and see things," he said happily. "We can't," said the little red fish. "The big fish will eat us all." "But you can't just lie there," said Swimmy. "We must think of something." Swimmy thought and thought. Then suddenly he said, "I have it. We are going to swim all together like the biggest fish in the sea." He taught them to swim close together, each in their own place. And when they had learned to swim like one giant fish, he said, "I'll be the eye." Right? It works out. And so they swam in the cool morning water and in the midday sun and chased the big fish away. So if you like that story, I did borrow it from the library, so please do not take it home, but it will be in the social hall today if you want to look at it a little more. And if you were wondering, why do I have Swedish fish in my mailbox this morning, read the little paper that comes with it, because you have your own little school of fish. And I did try to find you little black fish like Swimmy, but the only ones I could find are salted black licorice, and I am the only person I know on earth who likes those. I mean, give me a sign. Okay, so I've got some company, but I decided not to inflict/share that with you. And at this time, salted black licorice is an acquired taste, Lena. So my family has opinions about it. So at this time, let us sing our way out to our religious exploration classes as one united school of fish. May our minds be open to new learning.
That was quite a story. I really loved it. The coming together in community. In fact, the root meaning of community is with unity. Authors Joel and Michelle Levy, authors of Living in Balance, eloquently describe what community is. Somewhere, there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throat. Somewhere, A circle of hands will open to receive us, eyes will light up as we enter, voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins with strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing. A circle of friends. A place where we can be free. We all long to belong in community, for recognition, mutual support, and shared interests with other people. Indeed, feeling a part of a community is essential to our psychological well-being, as well as to our own health. Today, we have a TED Talk by Gopal Patel regarding the strength of spiritual community when the members nourish and support each other and take purposeful action based on shared values. He's going to bring up the concept of Sangha, which is almost like our chalice circles, where we get together in small groups and share things that we might not share with hardly anyone else. Patel is an environmental activist, campaigner, and consultant who has spearheaded the development of environmental initiatives, engaging religious communities all over the world, in Asia, East Africa, Europe, North America. His talk focuses on climate change and building community. Let's watch together.
I'm going to start with a story. In 1730 in India, the king of Jodhpur wanted to build a new palace, and he needed a large number of trees to be cut. Alarmed at hearing this, a group of local environmental activists went to protect the trees by throwing their arms around them. We could consider them the first ever tree huggers. Now, while this story might be known to many of us, what's often less known is what motivated these activists. They came from the Bishnoi community, a Hindu lineage founded on 29 principles of environmental care. This is just one of so many amazing examples throughout the world of religious communities stepping up to protect the environment through addressing climate change, restoring ecosystems, and protecting biodiversity. And I've had the honor and the privilege of working with many such groups in different parts of the world for environmental action. But before I did that, I actually was living in India, where I spent time in a Hindu ashram on the banks of the sacred river Ganges, where I was studying Hindu spirituality and how the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita could be applied to contemporary concerns in the world. And it was through this orientation of an engaged religion and spirituality that brought me to the climate movement in 2010. And since then, I think like many of us, I have experienced the highs and the lows as we've campaigned and advocated to keep global temperature increase to 1.5 degrees. And I don't know about you, but I think right now it can feel like it's a difficult time to be working on climate change. Sometimes things just don't seem to be moving as quickly as we would like. And more often than not, unfortunately, we might be feeling scared or stuck, hopeless, or maybe even burnt out. Coming from the faith sector, I've always been interested in, are there ideas that are rooted in religion and spirituality that can support the broader environmental movement? I started looking into the history of religious and spiritual groups and started thinking that they could be some of the most enduring social movements in the history of the world. They've been able to survive through multiple generations, adapt to changing situations, reform and revive themselves when needed. They've even inspired the leaders of some of the most iconic social movements in recent history, such as Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. That's why I was really happy when a friend of mine who was writing a book about Hindu approaches to pastoral care asked me to contribute a chapter. Using my previous background as a university chaplain, I developed a framework that I thought could help people suffering from climate trauma. And as I went around sharing this framework with people from different backgrounds, they told me that it really resonated with them. The framework, although initially built for climate trauma, I think can really help with something I believe we need now in the climate movement: building resiliency and keeping momentum. There are three core interconnected parts to this framework that are drawn from across a variety of religious and spiritual traditions. I'm excited to share that with you, and I'm going to use the Sanskrit words to explain the different aspects of the framework. We begin with Sangha, nourishing and uplifting community, where people come together to support one another and reaffirm social ties. This can happen weekly, monthly, or at different times of the year. So, for example, my Christian friends, they go to church on a Sunday. My Muslim friends go to prayer on a Friday. And my Hindu friends, they will gather at major festivals such as Diwali. We then have sadhana, rituals and traditions that give us a sense of belonging. This can often be fasting at times of the year, or going on pilgrimage, or retelling stories that have been passed down for multiple generations. Buddhists will go on pilgrimage to Gaya, where the Buddha found enlightenment. Jewish families and communities will retell the stories of their ancestors when they gather for their holidays. And then we have seva, purposeful action. These groups have guidance and teachings for how to show up in the world, how to care for one another and the planet. In the Jain tradition, there is a focus on leading a life based on non-violence. Members of the Baha'i faith are encouraged to be anxiously concerned with the needs of the world. We do these things on a regular basis, but there are two ways that religious and spiritual groups engage in these practices that set them slightly apart. The first is intention. When religious and spiritual groups engage in these practices, they do them with a sense of importance, recognize that these are core functions of what it means to be part of that group. Let's illustrate that with an example from the climate movement. Let's look at the Fridays for Future school strike. That was an example where some real focused intention yielded amazing results. By performing a very simple activity, not going to school on Fridays, they were able to build a community, a simple ritual, and a purposeful action. And by doing so, they built resiliency amongst themselves and motivated millions of people around the world that change was possible. Now, if we bring these three practices together, along with the intention, something really magical starts to happen. This is the second special feature that religious and spiritual groups bring to these practices. It's something that provides the ultimate grounding, narrative, and meaning for why community, rituals, and action are important. I call it the big idea. For religious and spiritual groups, the big idea is often a sense of the divine, of God, or a metaphysical understanding of the world, or a grand narrative of a people throughout time. Whatever it is, the big idea usually has some common characteristics to it. It's usually something that has existed before us and will exist after us. The big idea is not limited to a certain moment, time, or place. Now, I'm getting some worried looks in the audience. Don't worry, I'm not asking all of us to go out there and start looking for God. But I am suggesting that we may benefit from being part of something bigger than ourselves. And that can take many different forms. For many people I meet in the climate movement, their big idea is being part of and connected to nature and appreciating the beauty of the natural world. But it can also be a sense of connection we feel to our ancestors and the responsibility we have to future generations. It can also be a sense of wonder about the world, space, and all that exists. Or yes, the big idea could be a belief in something bigger than ourselves that we can't quite fully understand, but the presence of which we feel from time to time. The big idea the intention, and these three practices, when coming together, are extremely powerful and are bigger than the sum of their parts. For me, my big idea is that the earth is a goddess. In Sanskrit, she is called Bhumi. She is the life-giving source that nourishes me and all that exists. In order to sustain this idea, I make sure I have a community of people around me who believe similarly. Every morning, I have a simple ritual where I offer her my worship, thanking her for all that she provides. And I try to show up in the world with meaningful action, treating her with the love, respect, and compassion that she deserves. As we stand in this moment of time together, with all of the data and science before us, I believe we need to equip ourselves with every tool and resource possible. My invitation to all of us is that we all find our big idea and create communities, rituals, and practices with renewed intention and purpose. This framework not only has the potential to help us build resiliency and momentum, but it can profoundly transform the world. It has worked for people and communities for thousands of years, and perhaps it could work for us now. Thank you.
Namaste, everyone. And you know what the real meaning of namaste is? It isn't to pray, it's to tell you that I honor you. And I think Gopal Patel is one of my favorite environmental leaders because of the words Sangha, Sadhana, and Seva, as well as his love of the earth, which I have grown up with as well. So if we practice these three, a nourishing community, rituals and traditions, and purposeful action, we will come up with our own big ideas. And this September, we're having 2 wonderful weekends to help us do just this. The first weekend, Sunday, September 22nd, and the details are in your insert, so I won't go into them, but you're going to join us during the keynote speech from the Faith in Place Annual Climate Summit, which will be presented on Zoom here, but we will also have a dinner interaction meeting people from other faith congregations, and then we will have a discussion about the impact that we can have as Faith in Place. And that's on this side. And then the next thing we're doing is the first annual UU Climate Justice Revival, and it's sweeping everyone this September. So on the next weekend, September 28th and 29th, you have the information here, which will be updated as we move forward in the coming weeks. And this invites us to reimagine how we approach problems. We'll work together to address climate justice and collective liberation among us. In brief, we're going to identify opportunities for climate justice, develop a vision for a flourishing future, and enable the participants to understand their roles in the interdependent ecosystem creating climate justice and collective liberation. So that's the Saturday workshops, and then on Sunday, we're going to have a celebration after the service, which also focuses on joining with UU congregations around the US, Canada, and the world. So I will be able to answer some of your questions at the Good Trouble Action Team that's in the sanctuary after the service. And this week there are no postcards because we didn't get them, but there's information about what's coming for future postcard meetings.
Obedient, faithful, and remarkably independent, Mother Teresa was a listener who followed her conscience and led with her heart. Born in 1910 and dying in 1997, she spent her life with the poorest of the poor, depending on God for her needs as she ministered to them. Her unstoppable compassion for the world continues to inspire the works of others today, and her words forever change the hearts of those who hear or read them. Here are some of her words. In the words of Mother Teresa, let us always meet each other with a smile.
Every month, UUI gives half of the Sunday collection to an organization chosen by the Social Justice Committee. Half of the September collection will go to Faith in Place, formerly known as Hoosier Interfaith Power and Light. Faith in Place mission is to empower people of diverse faiths and spiritualities to be leaders in advancing environmental and racial justice, providing resources to educate, connect, and advocate for healthier and more sustainable communities across Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin. Faith in Place partners with a community of faith from diverse religious traditions, as well as people who identify as spiritual or motivated by justice, but don't identify with a specific faith tradition. They are a proud affiliate of Interfaith Power and Light, a national organization of working for environmental justice across the United States. You can give on your smartphone by texting the dollar amount you want to give and the word share to a phone number which is in the chat and in your bulletin. You can also give on our website at uui.org. Here in the sanctuary, ushers will come around and collect the donations. The offering will now be greatly received. May it be joyfully given.
We should have had the words in the. Thank you all for your generosity. Our closing words today are, "We walk this earth but a brief moment in time," by Tim Haley. We walk this earth but a brief moment in time. Amid our suffering and pain, however great or small, let us continue to learn how to celebrate life. Let us continue to grow in our capacity to love ourselves and each other. And let us continue to move toward the goal of a just world community. Go this day in a renewed spirit of peace and hope, and with the wisdom to greet the new week. Please rise. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Me.
Yeah, you.
Please rise in body or in spirit as we join together in singing hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, Jesus guide us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from
Please join me in the chalice extinguishing words on the screen and printed in your order of service. Now we extinguish the flame of our chalice, but not the light of understanding, the warmth of compassion, or the fire of commitment. Keep this with us until we meet again. Go in peace.